All right, when it comes to trading, there's essentially two things you have control over, right? Where you get into the trade and then when you exit the trade, right? Those are the only things really that you have control over in trading. And I think what a lot of traders do is they focus so much on the profits, right? The amount of money that they're making per trade. And a lot of times we stop focusing on the losses. And the losses, I think, need to be focused on more than the profits. So when it comes to my trading recently, what I've realized is I need to start focusing more on the losses, because there has been so many times where I'm in a trade and the trade starts going against me, right? I get into a trade and I already have my take profit marked, and then I have my hard stop marked where I'm gonna get stopped out if it doesn't go my way. And then in the middle, while price action is kind of developing inside that trade, there are instances where it starts going against me, and I'm like sitting there and I go, oh crap, I'm going to get stopped out. Like, I know that I'm going to get stopped out, but for some reason I allow price to stop me out completely instead of getting out when I know I'm going to get stopped out, right? When I'm obviously we don't know, I never know 100%, but there are a lot of times where I'm pretty confident that I'm going to get stopped out and I end up getting stopped out. And then I look at those trades and I go, what if I would have got out of the trade early when I realized that I was wrong, and all that money, I would have been saving so much money by not allowing price to stop me out for a full stop loss. And I look and I'm like, that's money that I left on the table, essentially. That would have been more profit on the month, right? That would have been more profit by me conserving my stop loss and getting out when I knew I was wrong, getting out early. That would have been more profit on the month. And so that's just something that I've been working. And for my strategy, why I use, if any of you have watched me before, I use IFVGs, right? And so for me, when a fair value gap gets inversed, right? And I have my entry, once that closes back below the gap, essentially it invalidates the trade for me, right? Because when it closes above the gap, now I'm looking for price to hit a certain high, a certain internal liquidity point, right? But when price closes back below the gap, it's kind of telling me that now we can go back for that low. So what I should be doing is getting out of the trade as soon as price stops, right? As soon as price closes back below the gap, for me, I should be getting out of that trade early. And it could be different from other people's strategies, but what I'm trying to go at here is every strategy, right? This is why we need to focus on our losses. Focus on the losses, and the losses hold the secret to potentially how you could be more profitable or how you can go from losing money to being a profitable trader. I think your losses hold a secret. And even if you lose money, but you can learn something from that loss, automatically that is a win in my book. If I can take a trade and it goes according to my plan and I follow my rules and I get stopped out, that's a win, right? Or I look at my loss and I realize what I could have done better. And if I can get something from that loss of what I could have done better for next time, right? It could be as simply as I shouldn't have taken this long because VWAP was right there. It could be something as simple as that. So for next time, if that happens again, I'm not going to take that trade because VWAP is there and I kind of know that VWAP is a resistance area or a support area. And so I think so many people focus so much on profits, and then when they have losses, they kind of brush it away. And especially you see this in social media era. A lot of influencers, you see, all they'll do is post wins. Win, 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 win. And when they have losses, you kind of just brush away those losses and don't really talk about them. But you will talk about your wins. And I just think we need to really focus on losses and see what we can get out of those losses. because your losses, I think, are what holds the key to you becoming a better trader. And so that's just kind of my rant. That's what I'm going to be working on in my lives while I'm live streaming, while I'm taking trades. I'm going to be disciplined to take a loss when I am confident that I'm wrong on the trade. And here's the thing. You can always get back into the trade, right? Say if you get out early of the trade because you thought you were wrong and price ends up confirming again, you can get back into the trade, right? You can always take a small loss and then re-enter the trade if price action starts developing in your favor again. So I don't know why we have this mentality of we need to take a full loss, right? A lot of times what a lot of traders do, and especially new traders in the space, right? When it comes to profit, they'll take profit. But when it comes to a loss, they'll move their stop loss down. They don't want to take that loss. They'll have their loss, and I've seen this before. They'll have their loss like a big freaking, they're a wide stop loss, and then their take profit is small. So I'm not saying that you can't do you can't be profitable doing that, but it's like you need to focus on your losses just as much as your wins. It all comes down to risk management, right? Capital preservation. All we're doing in trading is playing probabilities, right? When you get into a trade and you're looking at it as a probability standpoint of when I enter in this trade, I think the probability of hitting this high is higher than it going back to this low. So that's why I took the trade. But when probability starts to shift against you, you get out of that trade, right? Because why? Because probability is against you now. Because now it closed back below this gap. Now it's more likely in my book, in my eyes, and how I understand to go back down to that low. And it doesn't work 100% of the time. Nothing in the market is 100% of the time. I've gotten out early, right? And then end up hitting my TP. That's just a part of trading. That's just something you have to live with or adjust your strategy or backtest and see what works best for your strategy. But yeah, that's kind of my rant. That's what I'm going to be working on. And I think that's something a lot of people should start focusing on. And I think it'll really improve a lot of people's tradings. That being said, if you want to tune in, I do live stream every single day on TikTok and YouTube. So stop by. I'll be there. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.